digital short. Cool.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and the mantra of the left is that the rich don't pay their fair share in taxes. Let's go.
Okay. Cool.
Find out if that's true.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. Ami on the loose.
Do you think the rich pay their fair share in taxes?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Do the rich pay their fair share in taxes?
Absolutely fucking not. In America,
Yeah,
in the United
no.
States, absolutely not.
Probably not fair if all things are considered.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No chance.
No, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not.
Not even close.
Yeah.
No. No.
Oh, hell no.
No.
No, I don't think they pay their fair share of taxes at all.
Do you
True.
think
I agree.
the rich pay their fair share in taxes?
Oh, we just walked
Do they
away.
even pay taxes at all?
You can't even calculate the extreme that the 1% has.
The problem with a lot of them is that they just would rather
They'd
rather
rich.
be dead than see poor people be rich or be well off.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think rich people are just conditioned to be pieces of shit. Like, maybe. I guess maybe he's not wrong. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, so I'm trying to like show you guys a chart of like wealth disparity. This is basically the chart. This is like the 1%, right? And this is like us. This is like us. This is $41,000 a year or something. I don't know. You can barely read. It's fucking barely legible. I can't find the right one. Average net worth, whatever. So this is like this is the top 1%. This is like the next. I don't know. This is 5%. This is 10%, 20%, 20 whatever. Bottom 40%. Right, so they own literally nothing. They're actually in debt, so they owe money. So this is all the money that's in like the top 1%. That's a lot of like a little yellow bricks. You know, if I was gonna play one of those games of Brick Breaker, I'd rather play on this difficulty because it's you'd probably win, right? So like, yes, the rich don't pay their fair share of taxes. Now I'm sure there's a way that you can gaslight the fuck out of people and be like, well, did you know the tax rate for rich people is actually like 7,000%? But it's like, okay, but then like, what about tax loopholes? What about the fact that people pay each other through stock? That the payment is like 20%. All this other bullshit that you're not including. What about corporations dodging their taxes by putting their fucking corporation in some other country like Ireland? And you understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know people in America think of Gaddafi as a negative guy, but let's go back to Libya. Libya, free education.
I don't know.
Free electricity.
I don't know about
Gaddafi
Libya.
was slaughtering people in the streets.
Sounds terrible.
People in the streets.
So it's
It does sound terrible. It sounds a lot worse. I didn't really know much about Libya, but I'm thinking like killing people in the streets. Not really. I'm not vibing with that.
6 of this, half dozen the other.
I just think capitalism is stupid and it doesn't work.
I think it works pretty well. Fundamentally, like the way like if I had my capitalist system, here's the way that I look at I think I like capitalism because it puts people in like in a hierarchy, which I don't think is wrong. Ideally, if everybody had the same access to opportunity, capitalism is a really easy way to allow like the system to put people into different classes based on how much they benefit society and also encourage class mobility, right? So like, yeah, I think doctors should get paid more because they are more valuable to society. But I also think that the McDonald's worker should be able to live comfortably. You know what I mean? So poverty in this case, I wouldn't even call poverty, but like, you know, poor people in my system are like pretty well off, right? Have the access to opportunity to be able to platform themselves to become doctors, social mobility. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I look at it. I don't think that it's inherently bad to have like an upper and lower class, especially if you can earn your way into the upper class, because then it encourages better characteristics, maybe intelligence, work ethic, et cetera, to push their way to the top. Now, do we have that ability now? Probably not so much. We have quite terrible wealth disparity. But like capitalism in and of itself isn't the flaw so much as like the people running it. And like that's why I don't think that like communism will work either, because communism ideally is fantastic. But do I think that the people running it are going to make it better? No, probably not. You know, I don't know. That's the way that I look at this. Do you think that a 60-year-old McDonald's worker deserves a livable wage? Yeah, I think a 5-year-old McDonald's worker deserves a livable wage. Livable is relative. Like, of course, there are people who think that like they should have access to like a fucking iPhone when they're poor. No, you shouldn't. Get a flip phone. Stop being a loser. But you know, we have to meet the. We need to start like looking at it as, you know, people need to live within their means, but we need to increase the means at which they live at, because we have a lot of money in the system and there's no reason we can't redistribute it in a reasonable way.
I mean, obviously, look at our country, it doesn't work.
How is it possible for billionaires to even exist in this country?
Good question. I don't care about billionaires unless you got like hundreds of thousands of like homeless people. You know what I'm saying? That's my problem. I don't care about billionaires, but like we have so many people living in poverty. We shouldn't have any billionaires and also people living on the streets. You know?
You've got the most starving, suffering people on the in the richest country in the world.
Now, wait a second. You come from Zimbabwe. More people are starving in Zimbabwe than here.
They sold me a lemon.
I just think
I mean, like it should. If I was going to gauge the success of my country, no offense to Zimbabwe, wouldn't gauge it based off the success of a country like Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a flex to be like, yeah, but we got less starving people than Zimbabwe. Like, yeah, but we also have like a lot of money, like a ton of it. We have a lot of money here. We have the most money, objectively, in the United States. We're a quarter of the world's money. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's not a good flex. I wouldn't flex on that. Not me personally.
I think people shouldn't even be able to make as much money as they do.
So you think there should be a cap on income?
Yeah, I don't care about
Yes,
that.
fully.
What we're looking at is serfdom.
What percentage should be paid by the top?
All these people looked fairly well off, which is like a little bit weird that they're the ones that are. Well, I mean, New York's fucking brutal. Actually, there's a lot of bullshit policies that have been implemented.
1%.
Probably 60%.
70 or 80%.
75.
Yeah.
If they could kick it up to 75 to 80,
It's not unreasonable.
Hit them up for 80%.
They need to be freaking taxed.
Well, what's wrong with 90%?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
90% is, I like you. I love you.
So here's the strategy here. What he's doing is like, 90%. How preposterous to everybody out here? How preposterous does it sound to tax somebody at 90%? That's ridiculous, right? Everybody in the chat say, yeah, Papa, that's fucking ridiculous. You're gonna tax rich people if they make $1 billion a year. They're only gonna take home 100 million, right? Well, nobody makes that much money. If you get my point, like, let's say they make $100 million a year, they're only gonna bring home 10 million, blah blah blah, right? Here's the thing. That's not how taxes work. Okay, taxes are marginal, which means that the way that you're taxed. Let me see if I can bring something up to explain this to you much more easily. Now we can all see that I can't spell for my fucking life. Marginal tax rate. Okay, you know what? Right. So here's how this works. Okay, basically this is how it works. This is a fucking... So, okay, let's say you make $9,000 a year. You're going to be taxed at 12%, right? Once you hit the 40,000 mark, everything above from 9,950 to 40,000 is going to be taxed at 22%, right? But that first 9,000 is still taxed at 12%. You understand the point? So then anywhere from 40,000 to 86,000 will be taxed at the increased rate. Basically that. I don't know if these numbers are completely accurate. But basically, the way a marginal tax rate works is that you are going to apply it. It's not going to increase. So, I don't know. Let's say the marginal tax rate was 90%. So, what the hell am I doing with that? Let's say the marginal tax rate is like 90% on like everything over $100 million a year. Whatever. Who cares? Or $1 million a year. I don't care. That means that like everything between the previous tax rate, let's say it's 500,000, is like 50%. So, everything from 500,000 to $1 million, that's going to be taxed at 90%. But everything before the 500,000 is only taxed at 50% until the next, kickback. Do you understand? Am I making a reasonable argument here? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Am I actually... I spelled marginal wrong. Don't tell anybody. Am I getting my message across here? Or do I need to paint it out? I feel like I might have to paint it out because I feel like I'm doing a terrible idea. All right, let's just make up taxes. I don't know. Let's just say fucking $10,000 right here. You got 10K. And up to this point, you're taxed at like fucking 10%, right? So then the next rate's going to be at 20K. Let's not even do 20. Let's do 50K. You're going to be taxed at fucking 30%, right? So, and then we're going to say at 100K, you're taxed at fucking 50%. I don't care. And then at like, you get my point. We'll say 500K, you're taxed at 70%. So basically what happens here is that if you're making $500,000 a year, you're not paying 70% of $500,000. What you're doing is you're paying 10% at 10,000. So you're paying like, what is that, 1K? Then you're paying 30% of 50,000, which is at 15K. So you're gonna do 15K. Then you're gonna be paying 50% of 100,000, which is another 50K, right? And then you're gonna be paying. Okay, I actually did that wrong. You're paying. I can't fucking get this. You're paying 10% at 10K, which is 1,000. I'm fucking going way too fast. Okay, let me slow myself down because I have like this issue. What you're paying $1,000 right here. Anything from 10,000 to 50,000, you're paying at 30%, right? So 30% of that's 12,000. So you're doing 30% of the in between here. Then anything from 50 to 100K, you're paying 50% on. So now you're paying 50 to another 25,000. Do you understand my point here? And then we had 70% here of anywhere like the 400,000 here is at 70%. What is that? 280,000. Am I right about that? Am I right about that much? 280K. Am I right about that number? That's how marginal tax rates like work. So if you tax people that made like $1 million a year at 90%, they're only paying that. They're paying 90% on the $500,000 difference here. They're not paying 90% on the 1 million. Does that make sense? I know I might have explained that poorly, but so it's not preposterous to say that people making $1 million a year should pay 90% in taxes, right? You guys get it? So that's like my whole point there, right? Because then if you paid 90% of $1 million, you only bring home 100,000, but in fact you're actually paying 90% on this 500K. So that would be like what, 450,000? So like if we did some quick maths here, what is that? 454, 5, 6, 700 and what is that? 730, 755, 767, 768,000. Am I getting that right? So you're actually paying 768K. Which of course is high, but like I'm not getting the numbers accurately. You're paying this much, so you're actually bringing, instead of paying 900,000, right? So you're not paying literally 90%, but you get the fundamentals of what I'm saying. Get what I'm saying, guys? Right? Bada bing.
Man, 90%. That's 90%.
95?
And what usually happens too, because we get into more depth here, because people will say, well, if you raise taxes that much, it doesn't actually bring in more tax revenue. No, not necessarily. It doesn't. What ends up happening is it decentivizes companies from paying people that much money because you're not really going to get any more money anyway. So ideally, they'll take that money and they'll redistribute it back into their system or back into their company, hopefully through paying lower class people more money. Though probably not. Then you get into your next issue of them just kind of like hoarding money. And then that comes to like a whole issue of businesses and corporations dodging taxes. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole complicated thing here.
5%.
Dude,
They can live on 5%.
I think they can live on 5%, man. I get where you're going with this, man. I totally agree.
99% of their wealth.
Why should people with less money be paying more than billionaires when they literally don't have that money to pay in the first place?
And a lot of these
Why do you think poor people pay more than rich people?
And a lot of these billionaires don't even pay themselves. Warren Buffett pays himself $100,000 a year. This guy's worth like billions of dollars, right? Because he doesn't need it, and they live off of like their stocks and whatnot. Because my understanding is that like I think it's the capital gains tax. I'm not 100% educated, but like there's a different tax rate on like cashing out your stocks than there is with getting paid, which is like another problem as well for rich people. You see how this whole thing. So like there's definitely different loopholes to go through. It's like, oh, well, you're going to tax me at this much on this. Well, I'm just going to pay myself through fucking stocks. So I don't have to pay like a flat tax or whatever the fucking bullshit tax is on it. I think it's like 20%. I think Biden just talked about increasing it.
Because this country is a joke.
The poorest people are being milked more than the freaking rich.
Sure.
So do you think that the poor pay a higher percentage of their income?
Yes.
Or the rich?
They do pay a higher percentage.
I don't know if the poor pay a higher percent of their income. I'd probably say the middle class probably pays a higher percent of their income. Well, income is a tricky word because we just talked about how rich people pay themselves low income and then they pay themselves through stocks. So this is already a very dishonest framing of this entire thing.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Oh, the lower class, definitely.
Pay more.
Yeah.
Lower income people.
Poor people.
So the 1% earn about 25% of all the income in America.
Income is the key word. It doesn't mean that's their wealth. It's their income. This isn't including their stocks. This doesn't include it. And it doesn't include the fact that they're making so much money they don't need to give themselves a high income. Okay? Do you understand? Like there's a lot here. There's a ton of wealth just like sitting on them. Do you understand? Yeah, you get it?
So well, there you go. If we're talking about fair share, then, if you're bringing in 25% of the income, 25% of the taxes should also...
That would be fair.
No, that wouldn't be fair. What are you talking about? The more money you make, the more money you should have to pay because there's a diminishing returns on money, right? Like realistically, you're happy after you make like $75,000 a year. Like you don't actually increase your happiness. So anything over that is like diminishing returns. So poor people should bring home a higher percentage of money than rich people. So if 1% is making 25% of the income, they should be paying more than 25%. That's like a flat tax type of a deal, I think, that we're getting to. Unless I'm just like over fucking loading my brain right now.
And would you be surprised if I told you that the top 1% pay 40% of all taxes?
Yeah.
Would it surprise you if I said the rich, the 1%, pay 40% of all taxes in America?
Interesting. Would surprise me. Yeah. Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little more fair than you might have thought.
Yeah.
What percent of income do you think the top 1% pay?
So when we talk about paying like 1% of that, we're talking about income taxes. There's also a ton of dodging of taxes when it comes to businesses as well. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. Also, he switched his position from talking about income. He said that they make up 25% of the income, and then they flipped it to they pay 40% of, what is it, 40% of all taxes. It's like a dishonest framing. So they're accumulating all of their forms of taxes, I'm assuming, into one.
I think they're paying like freaking 2% of that.
They're paying 27%.
What?
27%.
Wait, what?
1% of
Wait, what? Wait, what? Hold on, what the fuck?
So it's a little more fair than you might have thought.
Interesting. Would surprise me. Yeah. Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little more fair than. Would it surprise you if I said the
1% of all
rich percent of income do you think the top 1% pay?
I think they're paying like freaking 2% of that.
They're paying 27%.
What?
27%. What percent?
What did I miss here? Like, how did we go from 40 to 27%? Like, I must be missing something here. What happened? Am I missing a word? Did they say a word differently? Like, I'm sorry for replaying this, but I'm missing something. 1% of the pay 40% of all taxes in
40%
America.
of all taxes in America?
Interesting. Would surprise me. Yeah.
I just said 1% pays 40% of taxes in
Oh,
America.
interesting.
So it's a little more fair than you might have thought.
Yeah.
What percent of income do you think?
That's what he did. He went, dickhead. He went from fucking all taxes to income taxes. I called it. I told you. So if they're making 25% of the amount of money and they're paying 27% of all the taxes, that sounds terrible. He just said that the top 1% make 25% of all income, but they're only paying 27% of the income taxes? No. What? That doesn't really make sense to me. If you're making more money, you should be paying a higher percentage of that money. This just proves that their tax system is fucking broken. This is totally broken.
The top 1% pay?
I think they're paying like freaking 2% of that.
They're paying 27%.
What?
27%.
That makes no sense.
What percent of their income do you think people at the 50% and below pay?
Probably higher than 27%. It gets higher the lower your income comes.
So what do you think the number is?
I think it's probably over 50.
It's 4%.
Oh, wow.
So then where's the rest of the money coming from? I don't understand. So you're saying that 27% of income taxes come from the top 1%?
That's a little more fair.
Yeah, that's
Wait, the lower 50%? What about the other 49%?
sounds fair.
Like the lower 50% of America is like living at a pretty shitty line in America. Like, what percentage do the 50% make? Wait, why didn't... Okay, so this is weird. What percentage of the income do you think that people at the 50% and below pay? Well, you never established how much they make, so it doesn't really matter. For all we know, they make up fucking 10%. I don't know. They make up 1% of the population. How much do they make? What's the amount of money that they make? We have to look into all this stuff. This is like they're just giving you such shitty like information here. It's so hard to decipher. I have to look for like a chart. These charts are so annoying to fucking look at. So those people make like around $35,000 a year. That's the bottom 50% of America is like $35,000. It's not a lot of money whatsoever. Okay. I would expect them to pay lower taxes. If anything, the fact that the bottom 50% doesn't pay a lot just shows like how horribly we've distributed our wealth because they're not making enough money to pay more taxes. It sounds rather interesting.
Over 50.
It's 4%.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
That's a little more fair.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Yeah, this is intentionally confusing. so that like people get slipped up and go like, wow, I guess everything is fine. Look at that guy dying over there. You know what I mean?
Man, yeah. I need to study up more on this, man. I'm not paying attention to actual numbers.
Would it surprise you if I said that the top 1% pay 27% of their income in taxes?
27%.
And the bottom 50% pay 4% of their income in taxes.
Really?
I'm just trying to think.
Would that surprise you?
Yes.
It's just not. It's not hitting. It's not hitting with me. I need all the information that they're intentionally leaving out. Income. I don't know. What the fuck? Income chart. I need an income chart here. I need some kind of an income chart to go into this and like really deconstruct it, because it just sounds. It's just such a dishonest fucking perpetuation of this situation. It's crazy to me. Because he's all over the place. He's saying that the top 1% makes 25% of income. Income is very different from, like, you know, how much money, you know, I don't think it brings into play excuse me. I don't think it brings stocks into play, right? So what does the bottom 4% earn? So you're saying, hey, we got the 1% making 25%, but they're only paying 27%. But then you have the bottom 4% only paying, or excuse me, the bottom 50% only paying 4%. Well, what does that bottom 50% make income-wise? Do you understand? Because if it's like 2%, then they're proportionately paying a lot more money. So I need to find the chart. I'm sure that they have it down here. Oh, wait, no, they don't.
Does that seem more fair?
Yeah, it would be pretty fair.
Oh, wow. Yes, I would. I didn't know that.
Is that surprising?
Yes.
Does that seem more fair?
Because I feel like it's, I mean, well, yeah, it would definitely seem
No.
fair.
Telling me that's the reality?
100%.
Wow. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Seems like the bottom should pay a little more.
No, that's the dumbest thing anyone's ever said. But I can understand why they get that conclusion, because you haven't. This is one of the problems. Like, so I talk a lot on, like, I talk about, well, not a lot, but I will often talk about, same word, what the hell's wrong with it? I'll talk about how, like, you have people who are well educated, basically gaslighting the fuck out of, like, other people. Like, this is one of those problems. You have an intelligent conservative here who is just lying through his teeth to people. He's saying the truth, but like he's not giving all of the information, so they can't make an informed decision about what he's saying. He sat there and said, hey, did you know, like, this is how it started. He said, hey, did you know that the top 1% pay 25% or receive 25% of all income? Which is already insane, but the income doesn't mean all of the ways that they get money necessarily, right? And then he said, but they pay 40% of the taxes, right? Well, that's a very different thing. Why are they paying 40%? But they're not paying 40% of income taxes. They're actually paying 27% of the income taxes, because they later clarify that. So they started with income, then they went to overall, like, taxes, which probably includes like property taxes, taxes on stocks, whatnot. Then they went back to income taxes, where they're barely paying more proportionally to how much they make, despite the fact that if you make more, you should be paying more. And then they say, they bring up the bottom 50%. And the first thing you think is the bottom 50% are probably living well, even though from what I've been able to find, that's $35,000 and under in income. Okay. So they're like, yeah, the bottom 50% pay 4%, but they're not telling us what percentage of the income that they make. So it's an incredibly dishonest proposal of the information. And the only thing that they're trying to do is to get people to be like, wow, I guess we don't have a horrible, rampant income inequality, even though we do. That was such a dishonest, shitty way to propose this. Jesus, Daily Wire is horrible. That was horrible. Hey everyone, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. All links are in the description. Also, check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me even more than you already do. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all.